for external borrowing. 1. To finance the proposed revised 2020 budget. 2. For priority projects of the federal government. And 3. For projects to support the state governments. In accordance with the provisions of Section 21 of the Debt Management Office Establishment Act 2003 and Section 41 of the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007, I wish to request the approval of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria for external borrowing to finance the following. 1. The draft revised 2020 budget. 2. Priority projects of the federal government of Nigeria. And 3. Projects to support the state governments. Financing the proposed revised 2020 budget. As the Senate may be aware, the COVID-19 pandemic has resulted in economic and physical challenges for many countries. Nigeria has also been affected in this regard, especially with the lower demand for crude oil, which has affected our sales, and the sharp decline in the price of oil below $25 per barrel, which is much lower than the $57 per barrel benchmark in the 2020 Appropriation Act. The COVID-19 pandemic has also created the need for additional expenditure in the health sector. All of these have necessitated a review of the 2020 budget and the medium-term expenditure framework 2020 to 2022. Following from paragraph 2, the draft revised budget proposed by the executive for 2020 has a higher deficit. In order to finance this deficit, the federal government is planning to raise funds from both domestic and external sources. For the external component, the government is negotiating with multilateral institutions for funding on concessionary terms. The facilities totaling $5.513 billion been arranged in this regard are detailed in Table 1. Proposed external loans to finance revised 2020 budget deficit. 1. International Monetary Fund, IMF, US dollars 3.4 billion. 2. The World Bank, $1.5 billion. 3. African Development Bank, $500 million. And 4. Islamic Development Bank, $113 million. Total, $5.513 billion. Priority projects of the federal government. In addition to the financing required for the revised 2020 budget, financing is also required for some priority projects of the federal government to address the COVID-19 pandemic and improve Nigeria's food security. The proposed loans and associated projects in this regard are detailed in Table 2. 1. Islamic Development Bank project, support of Nigeria's response to challenges posed by COVID-19, an amount $600 million. African Development Bank project, strengthening of healthcare system to improve response to COVID-19, amount $125 million. Financing smallholder farmers to mitigate food security impact of COVID-19, amount $23 million. 3. African Export-Import Bank, provision of critical medical supplies to combat COVID-19, amount $500 million. 4. Export-Import Bank of Brazil, project Green Imperative to enhance mechanization of agriculture and agro-processing in Nigeria, amount €995 million. The Islamic Development Bank has indicated that only $130 million of financing will be available to the federal government of Nigeria in the year in the 2020 fiscal year to enhance the government's COVID-19 response, which will come from restructuring of previously approved but inactive facilities for Nigeria. Facilities for projects to support state governments. The state governments are also experiencing fiscal challenges as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, and in order to support the states, facilities from the World Bank are being negotiated as detailed in Table 3. The facilities to support state governments. 1, the World Bank. State Fiscal Transparency, Accountability and Sustainability Program to provide fiscal support to the states. Amount between 500 million and 750 million US dollars. 2, the World Bank. COVID-19 Action, Recovery and Economic Stimulus Program to support state-level efforts to protect livelihoods, ensure food security, and stimulate economic activity, between 500 and 750 million dollars. Please find attached relevant documents for the facilities. The Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning shall provide any additional information that may be required for your consideration of the request. Whilst looking forward to your timely consideration and approval, please accept the Single Senate President the assurances of my high regards. Signed, yours sincerely, Muhammadu Buhari.